right, welcome to another episode of Piecing It Together, the podcast where we take a look at a new movie and try to figure out what movies might have inspired it. And today on the show, we are talking about The Surfer, a new movie starring Nicolas Cage, and we get into a lot of great stuff in this episode. Joining me, we've got the Vern from Cinema Recalls, first time on the show in a couple of years now. Happy to have him back. We get into a lot of great stuff here in the episode. Before we get to it, as a reminder, make sure you are subscribed. We've got a lot of Piecing It Together on the way, so get subscribed and you'll find out about all the episodes as they come out. And with that said, let's get to today's episode on The Surfer. All right, so the Vern is back with us. It's been a while from Cinema Recall. We're going to talk about The Surfer. How's it going, Vern?
Dude, man, surfing. Yeah, bro. Catching some waves. Hell yeah.
Are you
surfing.
Are you a big surfer, Vern? Are you a big surfer?
Totally. I'm from Minnesota.
Yeah,
so yes,
sure.
of course.
Yeah.
All the surfing is here in Minnesota.
Yeah,
yes.
Totally.
Big, huge surfing community here.
Yeah, and here in Las Vegas as well. We surf those dunes, just we make it work. So.
Oh yeah, catch it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've never surfed, and I would be terrified to even try, especially if I was in Australia. That would be extra scary to ever do that.
I once went onto a beach with one of those like boogie boards, and couldn't do that either.
Yeah.
So I feel at that. Yeah.
This is why we're podcasters, right?
That's true. That's true.
Oh man, it's been a while since you've been on the show. Happy to have you back, and I'm looking forward to talking about this one. I know I liked it more than you. I wouldn't say like I loved it, but like it was a solid, interesting Nic Cage performance in a movie that's like maybe a little undercooked, but we'll get to that as we're getting to it. But what was your initial impression of like Nic Cage in a kind of throwback movie about a surfer who gets terrorized? Were you just like super in on this idea?
I liked the beginning of the movie
Mm-hmm.
where it showed the font, and I really thought that this was going to be a very like twisted, sort of surreal type of movie. Because I know Nic Cage has always picked roles that have been very like unconventional.
Yeah.
And with The Surfer, he seems to be doing that very much. The trailers made it seem to be like some of his other movies, and maybe that was my expectations going into this, and I probably should have not seen that happening or so. It's just what I got from the trailers is not exactly what the movie actually gave me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't want to give away like any too much spoilers in this, but when you see a bunch of people picking on Nic Cage, you expect Nic Cage to do some like fighting and whatnot, and I didn't much get that. And the whole mystery angle of it, I wasn't sure. It felt like a movie that would have been a perfect sort of like 45-minute Black Mirror type esque episode. Just
Yeah.
short and to the point, but I just thought it just dragged on a little bit much. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fair. I think especially fair is the idea that the movie was maybe not sold exactly as what it actually is. I think we all expected it to be much more of a blow up kind of a thing where this guy is going to just totally go crazy, and we've seen Nic Cage do that before. So and the advertising absolutely claims that. And also, this is a bit of a tangent from our puzzle pieces, which we'll get into in a second. But a lot of the critic pull quotes love to talk about how insane Nic Cage goes in this, and he does not go that crazy in it. I think he's great in it. I think it's a really interesting character and a really interesting performance from him, but it is not quote unquote crazy Cage that when, these critics are all saying, oh, this is Cage at his most gonzo crazy. It's a little bit of a mismarketing, I think. But I should also say, don't worry about spoilers. We'll spoil away as we're getting into some puzzle pieces here. So we should just start getting into it though. What do you have for your first piece?
Well, the first one I have on my piece, and I had to mention it right away. I know it's a Nick Cage movie, but I'm picking Mandy.
Yeah.
The Paulos Cosmostis feature with him and forgot the name of the girl is in that one there too. She's just been nominated for Best Actress. But essentially the story about this couple, and the girl gets kidnapped and terrorized by this group of like Satanists, and Nic Cage goes out after them, and it has a very much similar visual quality that I think the Surfer has. Both guys are basically trying to fight against these bullies and
Yeah.
whatnot. Instead of surfing bullies, there are just a bunch of like
Satanists.
Satanist bullies.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, but it's got a great soundtrack, and a lot of the visuals that you see in the Surfer kind of made its way into Mandy, and Mandy makes the way into the Surfer. So yeah,
Yeah, I agree. Mandy was definitely one that I was thinking about as well. I think if you are going into this movie expecting, again, crazy Cage, over the top, insane Cage, like Mandy is the movie that you're looking for. And this movie is something that's a little bit different, but certainly I think they are cut from the same cloth and from the idea of like, let's put this guy through a whole bunch of shit and see what happens to him. He just takes it in a very different direction, and the Surfer is just a different kind of person. But yeah, Andrea Riseborough, that's the actress
that's
that.
thank you.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I love Mandy. I think Mandy, in a way, is kind of responsible for the kind of resurgence that Cage has had over the last 5-6 years or so.
That's true because yeah, that came before his role in Pig,
Yeah,
and also the Wiley's Wonderland. So yeah,
yeah, absolutely, great movie, great pick there. I'm gonna go for my first one, a movie from 2008 called Eden Lake. Uh, this was James Watkins' directorial debut, who just did the recent Speak No Evil remake. This is a much darker and much more grim movie, and definitely not as fun as The Surfer can be at times. But it is about a couple who go on vacation in a small town somewhere in the UK in the kind of outskirts and get terrorized by some locals. And again, it's a much darker movie if you haven't seen Eden Lake, but it does kind of deal with that kind of fear of the locals kind of thing, which the Surfer taps into really well. And Eden Lake is just fantastic and just horrifying.
Wait, isn't Michael Fassbender in this one?
Yeah, yeah,
I have
absolutely.
seen this movie, and I had no idea it's from the same guy who did the See No Evil remake.
Yeah,
And that seems to be a trend going on whenever a director makes a really good independent movie. His next project always has to be a remake of another established feature or some sort of like IP property. And
sure.
that's just odd and kind of sad in a way, I guess.
Yeah, it's that, or they get swallowed up and end up making a Marvel movie next, which none of us end up liking. So,
Exactly, look
yeah,
at the guy like Colin Trevor for
sure.
stuff he did to Jurassic Park, and yeah,
Yeah,
weird.
totally.
Oh,
Exactly. Well, let's go to another piece. What do you got next?
well, this one I have here is After Hours.
Oh, okay.
Martin Scorsese's 1985 comedy with Griffin Dunn and Roseanne Arquette, and it's essentially the worst day in this guy's life. He's going to meet this girl that he met at a restaurant, and he's thinking he's gonna have like a very fun time with this beautiful woman, and everything that can go wrong with this guy does go wrong. And as soon as he thinks that things are going to get better for him, it doesn't. And I think that type of element happens to the Surfer as well, because Nic Cage is thinking that he's going to get, he's trying to get a house sold, and just when he thinks that things are going to go right for him, his real estate agent's going to come through, it doesn't. And the same thing can be said for Griffin Dunn's character. Like the moment that he thinks he's going to get out of being in downtown New York, something happens that keeps him stuck there. Uh,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
both movies are filled with a lot of like wild, eccentric characters, and you're not quite sure where they land on or how they are in this world. So I picked After Hours just merely to match all the other weird characters that the Surfer goes through.
I think that's a great one, and I hadn't thought of that. And believe it or not, I watched After Hours for the first time this year, and it
Oh,
it is so good. It's like, of course, it's so good. I mean, who doesn't love After Hours? But yeah, I think that's actually a great piece, and I think like the idea of things just keep they get worse and worse and worse for this guy in a way where you're like, how could it possibly go wrong next? You know, and like it's so much fun to watch in After Hours. And here in The Surfer, it's kind of definitely a similar thing. I think it's a great piece to bring up here because for this character, it's just like, God, what they don't put this poor schmuck through, you know, as his whole life just falls out of control.
And both movies seem to have this surreal quality
Yeah.
to them. Like you're not quite sure what is real and what is not real, which I think both movies element very well.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. That's a great one right there.
Well, what do you
Um,
got next?
yeah, I'm going to go. Actually, speaking of things where you can't tell what's real and what isn't real, I'm going to go with the Daniels Swiss Army Man for my next puzzle piece here.
Oh,
Uh,
yay!
it's a fun
Oh, I'm
one.
so happy.
I know you, we love this movie, and it's so much fun. Obviously, most people who haven't seen it know it as the farting corpse movie, but there's so much more going on in this movie about a guy played by Paul Dano and his dead corpse friend, played by Daniel Radcliffe, who are just basically trying to survive in the wilderness. And there's a lot of ways to interpret this movie because it is very surreal, very weird. But the mental state of the character is definitely called into question in many different ways. And they're all kind of I don't want to say red herrings because that's not necessarily what they are, but in a way they're kind of playing against one another in ways where you never quite get your footing. And I felt that was something The Surfer did quite well, and that we're never quite sure if Nic Cage is just crazy. If
Yeah.
maybe he's been there, you know, homeless or just losing his mind or whatever for many years, or maybe he really did just get there. And like it's a very unreliable narrator situation. And the way that both movies deal with a character that we really just don't know what the hell's going on with them, I think is really great. Swiss Army Man, one of my favorite movies of the last like 10 years. So I mean, obviously a much better movie, but I think they both do deal with it in similar and really interesting ways.
Well, yeah, exactly, David. Because there's the surfer, and then you keep seeing images of like this older guy that he talks to,
Yeah,
and part of me is thinking that's Nick Cage as an older person. Then there's elements happen with his father that happened in the past, and you're thinking that maybe that's his dad, and that has great connections with the Daniel Radcliffe character in Paul Dano because maybe no one else can see David Radcliffe's farting corpse except
yeah,
for Paul Dano's character.
yeah.
So yeah, that is a great pick, David. I like that one very much.
Right on, right on. Well, let's go to another one. What's next?
So my next pick is a little bit of a controversial pick. I'm choosing Straw Dogs,
Ooh, nice.
and I had to write this down there. I wrote down both Nick Cage and Dustin Hoffman's characters are bullied by a group of men. But in The Surfer, it takes a different turn than what it does in Straw Dogs.
Sure.
So both movies have to deal with the guy who's being bullied, but instead of like fighting back, the surfer does something else. I'm not going to, spoil, what actually happens with the surfer and the bullies, but it takes a different turn. And it made me think about Straw Dogs, because after Dustin Hoffman's character's wife, played by Susan George, is assaulted, um, he does fight back, but not because of her, because of other situations. And it
Sure.
made me kind of think about the surfer and his way of like fighting back because he wants to kind of like belong in a way too, and I just feel
Right.
like that's what David Justin Hopkins' character is trying to do as well. He's trying to belong with these group of surfers. He wants to be part of it, and I think David and Straw Dogs also wants to become part of that. He wants to be part of the whole like masculine instead of like listening to his wife. And I both think that both the surfer and David, they don't necessarily listen to the people in their family. And
Yeah.
that's why I kind of made the connection there.
Yeah, they both just want to be one of the dudes, basically. And yeah, Straw Dogs is a great pull. And yeah, I think they're both also very frustrating movies when you get to the end. The
Sure.
way that those characters deal with it in the end, you're just kind of like, oh, come on, man. You know,
Yeah.
like, you know,
Like
you could handle this
you
so
could
much better.
easily made better choices there, and you
Yeah.
don't do that. And
Yeah.
neither both the surfer and Dave from Star Jaws Straw dogs made wise choices.
Exactly, totally. And by the way, just as a little aside, if I had been doing this show back when Eden Lake came out, I would have used Straw Dogs as a puzzle piece on Eden Lake. I think that
Oh, sure.
that was a huge influence on that movie. But
Oh, 100%.
yeah,
Yeah. Great week on Ants, bud.
I will go on to, let's see here. Well, you know what? We're in Australia with a bunch of weirdos terrorizing people. We got to go with Mad Max, the original first
Oh,
one.
the original.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
You got to go to the first one with a bunch of weird towny type people terrorizing Mel Gibson and setting everything in motion. I mean, it's kind of insane to even just think of that first movie and where things have gone between Fury Road and Furiosa, and just how
Yeah.
insane it all went. But in a way, like The Surfer could have been like one little side story during those early days of the wasteland. I could see that being like a little something that was going on the side during those days in Australia before the bombs dropped and everything went completely nuts.
There's a lot of other like exploitation influence in this movie, not because it's just set in Australia, but yeah, that's a great pick with Mad Max, which I have not seen the original Mad Max in years. I mean, I've watched The Road Warrior a bunch of times,
Hmm.
and I've seen Fury Road a bunch of times. The Furiosa movie is absolutely great.
So good,
Yeah, great pick with the first Mad Max there.
absolutely.
Uh,
Well, what do you got next?
well, my next pick here, yeah, I'm gonna do Drive.
Okay,
Nicholas Winding
I
reference.
just watched it last night for the first time since the theater. Actually,
Oh, nice.
it's
Love
so good.
Ryan Gosling, Carey Mulligan, and it deals with the driver, and he's trying to help out his girlfriend who has a husband, but also picked it because both the driver and the surfer, they are these nameless characters, and I picked this one mainly because of the way that Drive was marketed to be like this action little movie there that wasn't. Uh, Same thing could be said for the surfer that was supposed to be marketed to be like this revenge movie that wasn't, and I picked it. I know it seems kind of shallow, but I picked it mainly just for the way that it was marketed.
No, that's interesting, and yeah, and I think that they are, kind of similar kinds of like you said, nameless characters that are just all about their particular thing that they do. Like that's like their main, character trait. I'll also throw in there that both have incredible scores. I really love the Surfer score; it's one of my favorite scores of the year so far, and
Sure.
different kind of score, not all electronic and everything like that. Cliff Martinez score, but still really good one though. And Drive is just so good.
I
So
will say this though, at least in Drive, the driver drives,
that's true.
and the surfer he doesn't surf. All
Yeah.
right,
He
he
might not
does
even have a surfboard. They might have
that.
had it the whole time. So
Yeah, like the whole thing is just like you don't know exactly who is there, who to trust.
yeah.
And also the same thing could be said for the driver too, because the driver kind of sees things that are not actually there, especially when it comes to the relationship with Irene, the neighbor, uh, the Carrie Mulligan character. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
so
absolutely. Absolutely.
very cool. What do you got next, bud?
I will go, you were talking about the kind of toxic masculinity there when talking about Straw Dogs. I will go with Fight Club for my next one. As far as this group of surfers who kind of have like their exclusive club and are just real shitty to each other, basically, and shitty
Yeah,
to everybody. And basically Nic Cage being on the outside and just wanting to be able to surf at that beach and the shit that they're going to put him through if they are going to allow him to do it. And basically, there's no way. In Fight Club, it's also a lot of guys just kind of being shitty and like getting that out of their system in a way. And this is, of course, ignoring the entire B plot of Project Mayhem and all the other stuff that goes on. This is just talking about the Fight Club itself.
yeah.
But just the way that they introduce new characters and new members to the club, and just how awful it is, and how it's just the worst side. I mean, it's all bad toxic masculinity, but the worst parts of it all kind of congealed into this one little idea. Fight Club is fantastic, but it's also a mirror to some of the worst kinds of people.
Yeah, these are like not good people you want to associate with, and I love the connection you had with the Fight Club members to the group. the surfer wants to belong with,
Yeah,
because these are not nice people at all. But it's funny because in Fight Club, they seem to be framed as somewhat like anti-heroes and whatnot,
sure.
and the surfer, they're just complete a-holes, and I love that very much. I love the fact that the surfer sees them as heroes and we don't, and in Fight Club, Fincher kind of frames them as being heroes that we can see why what's his name here, Edward Norton's character, can want to identify with them, even though we know that we should not identify with them at all.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, they make it look so fun. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
I know, right? The whole thing about picking fights with people, that'd be
Yeah,
great. And it's funny too because the element with them picking fights with someone, and like, okay, I kind of wish someone would do that to me so I could belong somewhere.
yeah,
But
yeah,
the Dane of the surfer, they're just picking on anyone that just wants to surf. And the
yeah.
whole notion, like, don't live here, don't surf here. All right. This whole cult mentality and the way that other people in the community seems to be forgiven of them. One lady says, "Oh, they're just blowing off steam.
Yeah,
It's better they're doing this to some locals than to their wives at home." And I'm
yeah.
like, "Well, both are not good. All right, these are
Neither.
not good things to have."
Yeah, neither of those things are good things. Like, come on, let's be real here. But yeah, let's go to
Yeah.
another piece. What do you got next?
All right. Well, my next piece is going to be Twin Peaks: Fire Walk with Me.
Okay.
David Lynch's prequel to the Twin Peaks universe that chronicles the last days of Laura Palmer. And I picked this one mainly because both Laura Palmer and our surfer character are finding things out about their past that are disturbing and very confusing to them when it comes about their past and where they are. Because I mean, the surfer, he thinks that hey, he's got this great life and he's gonna be buying this big house and he's gonna be moving back to his childhood home, and then things don't really work out that way. And Laura Palmer has got love, and she has another secret love too, and she's having these other nightmares and a slow kind of descend into madness. And
Sure.
I think that both characters of each movie have this slow descend into madness, and that's why I immediately picked it.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen Firewalk with Me, but I did do a little mini Lynch marathon earlier this year, and I think there's plenty of Lynch here. So,
Oh, sure.
I think there you could see some parallels with a bunch of things that he's done. So, Firewalk with Me as the puzzle piece here is a great one to include, and definitely that slow descent into madness. I mean, that is, I mean, what else? What else are you going to associate with Lynch? Of course, you know.
If you watch Twin Peaks, watch the first two seasons. The first season is definitely better than the second one. Then watch the movie. Then watch The Return, and
Yeah.
that's a very bizarre watch.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If it had surfing, then I mean that would even be probably a better thing there too. But
Hey,
not enough surfing going on in David Lynch movies. So maybe that's what this director wants to do. He's like, I want to make a David Lynch movie, but maybe add some like Point Break to it and some surfing.
there you
So
go. That's how you combine some things and make something new. So
that's
I
right.
like that.
If they need to have the bad guys in this movie wear like president masks, and
Hmm.
then that would be in the same universe. This could be like a prequel to Point Break.
There we go. Maybe this guy is going to make another Point Break remake, which I know we got one already, but they'll do it again at some point.
Yeah,
So
could be.
there you go. I will go to this kind of. I could have combined it with Fight Club, but I figure I'll just use it as its own separate piece. The Art of Self Defense, the Riley Stearns film with Jesse Eisenberg. Um,
Oh,
This is a weird one, but again, talking about more of this toxic masculinity and these guys who just do anything that their leaders say. And I mean, it just feels like such a cult situation, and you just know that these kinds of people getting together, it's just not going to go well for anybody. Not for them, not for anyone around them, not for anyone that they interact with. It's just a bad mixture of ideas and people, and that's something that I love so much about the Art of Self Defense, which is a very strange movie, but is a really unique and great one.
I know I have seen this movie before. To this as is that Jesse Eisenberg in this?
Yeah, he's the main star of it. Yeah.
I know I've seen this one. I liked Riley Stern's other movie, Duel,
Uh huh. Yeah, it's a good one.
much better than I do like The Art of Self Defense. Uh, but mainly, maybe I was not the right set of mind for The Art of Self Defense. Um, I think it was coming at a time where it kind of felt like a really weird, almost like a ripoff of like Yargos Lanthimos features with the dry dialogue.
Sure, that is definitely a thing that he has been accused of before because they both have that very stilted, dry dialogue. So yeah,
Yeah, so I will have to give this one another shot because I love Duel very much, and now that I'm kind of used to the style of it, I can go back and watch The Art of Self Defense. But
yeah,
yeah, that's a great pick.
right on.
Oh.
Well, what do you got next?
All right. Well, next on here, I have a movie that I have not seen yet,
Okay.
which I know is bad for doing typical puzzle pieces on, but I heard about this movie coming to the Criterion channel for next month, so I will definitely give it a watch. But what I'm reading about the plot of it, it sounds somewhat similar. I'm doing The Swimmer from 1968,
Yeah.
starring Burt Lancaster, and all I know is about this swimmer who shows up automatically at these like different places with these different characters. He shows up at one beach party and then meets with the people there, and he's trying to find out more about who he is and where he's coming from. And it seems like each place he goes to, it's set in like this different area where he gets to know a little bit about himself, which kind of represents how our surfer character is trying to find out about himself as well. So, like I said before, I have not seen The Swimmer, so I'm not exactly sure what goes on.
Yeah.
But just the whole, even the poster says, if you find out about the swimmer, you find out about yourself. And I think that's a journey that Nic Cage's character is going through as well, and
Sh-
that's
Yeah.
why I picked it.
That makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I haven't seen it either, but it's funny you bring it up here because God, and now I wish I had written it down. I don't remember if it was a tweet or what it was, but somebody had like mentioned that the surfer is like the swimmer meets something else. And I can't remember what the other movie was, but they brought up the swimmer. So I think even though neither of us have seen the swimmer actually, you may be onto something there. So
Tonight. And I don't know, it just looked like a fun. It came out like in 1968. So, which a lot of great movies came out in 1968. I just
mm,
realized while I was doing research for one of our future episodes on Barbarella that too many great movies came out that year in 1868.
we're going to have to do an awesome movie year on 1968 one of
We
these
have Planet of
days.
the Apes and 2001 Space Odyssey,
Yeah.
Swimmer, Barbarella. Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah. Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah,
Woo.
yes, that's right. That's right.
Rosemary's Baby.
Oh, shoot. Yeah.
Ooh, I was just scrolling through a list, but yeah, great year, absolutely. Well, my last piece that I want to bring up is Jim Cummings' Thunder Road, his directorial debut, where he plays a cop who is basically just beaten down in every way possible to the breaking point, and that's basically what the surfer is. The surfer is just watching someone just really just lose it all, and
Mhm.
that is why going into this movie again, like to kind of bring it back to what we first started talking about, how the trailer certainly makes it seem like it's going to be a lot more fun, and it's going to be like watching Nic Cage just kind of lose his shit and like take revenge and all this kind of stuff. It doesn't really go there. It's a lot more depressing than that. It's a lot darker than that. And just watching these characters just really have the worst moment of their life basically it's a bit draining, but Thunder Road approaches that with some humor as well because Jim Cummings is just such a fantastic performer and a great writer. And I think, watching Nic Cage, no matter what kind of movie it is, it's something that it is at least worthwhile.
And that's true. I have not even heard of Thunder Road, so I've got no way to,
Okay.
connect you to it there. Uh, but I'm intrigued to like learn more about it. And you're exactly right. Sometimes a movie, if it has a good actor in it, I will watch it no matter what. And I do think that Nick Cage does put in a very good performance in this because he draws me in at each scene. Like you really want to know what's going to happen next, and having a character who's being bullied all the time. Yeah, when I was younger, I used to get bullied a lot,
Mm,
and then seeing how he reacts to it and what he's going to do, and then the choices that were made about how he decides to go after these people is different and strange, but yet very intriguing.
yeah,
And yeah, you like movies where you want to know more about the character who's involved with it,
yeah.
and even though you may not like their choices, you still find them to be kind of fascinating. And it sounds like Jim Cummins in Thunder Road, he seems to have a lot of that. Is that correct? Or
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's just you really want to see how he's going to live through this, basically. Live through
yeah,
this moment in his life, and yeah, it's definitely one worth checking out. I would absolutely recommend that. But yeah, I think we got into a lot of great puzzle pieces here. Any further closing thoughts on the Surfer? Anything else you wanted to mention?
I mean, like I said before, it's a fine movie. It's probably not what I want to revisit, but yet I'm still always impressed with what Nicolas Cage does for his roles. I recently just started rewatching Con Air
Mm-hmm.
again, and I forgot that Con Air came out around the same times as like Face Off and Leave Las Vegas, and the man just has this wide range of
Oh
movies
yeah.
that he does. And I like very much that Nic Cage picks roles that he actually wants to do. He doesn't do this for any type of like paycheck or any type of like award capabilities. Even when he won for Leaving Las Vegas, he took that role not thinking, "Hey, this is going to be an Oscar-worthy performance of mine. I know I've got to do this because I need to win an Oscar." Nick Cage just picked roles because he likes the script and he just wants to do it because he wants to do it. And I like that, which makes me want to watch another Nick Cage movie. So, regardless of how I feel about this movie, I will definitely go watch the next one. I mean, the man is a national treasure. Not quote unquote, he has been a national treasure, but he also is a national treasure as well.
Yes, absolutely. A little of both there. But
Yeah.
yeah. So I only other thing I wanted to mention, this is officially a Christmas movie, isn't it?
What, the surfer?
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing is Christmas centric. I mean, he wants to they're constantly talking about Christmas and getting to the
That's
house for Christmas and like yeah.
You see, they did have Shane Black do like a script of this, and then yes, all right,
Yeah,
if Shane
sure.
Black was making this, it would fully full on been a Christmas movie, and that would have been amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. They'd put twinkle lights by the little coffee shop and everything. It would be
And like
totally
Christmas,
yeah,
music everywhere and all that good stuff. Yeah, that's a
absolutely.
good point. I forgot there's a one surfer guy that wore the Christmas hats. I
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh shoot.
Well, Vern, is there another movie you watched recently you'd like to recommend to our listeners?
Oh gosh, another movie that recommended to listeners there. Gosh, the only one that I'll recommend right now, if you like the sort of like surreal nature of the surfer, is now playing on the Criterion channel, and I'm picking Daisies.
Hmm.
I think Daisies came out in 1960. Oh god, 64, I believe. I'm not gonna remember the year of this. And do not ask me to pronounce the director's name because I am not gonna pronounce this at all. But it's about these two girls who are basically kind of sick and tired of everyone else in their world becoming bad. So they're going to be bad as well. And they torment a bunch of rich people. And the movie changes like stock and film stock and animation style and latent style very much. It's like while our lead characters are changing things in their society, the filmmakers themselves are changing things with the film.
Hmm.
If you ever seen the movie House or Hausu from
Sure.
1977, it's a lot like that.
Okay.
Like the style is a lot like that, and that's the only way I can compare anyone to watch this one is to compare it to House. So
Okay. I'm gonna have to check that
Daisies,
out. It sounds
it
very weird and very cool.
there's a sequence where both girls are doing these fights with scissors,
Hmm.
and they cut on themselves, and you just see like their floating heads, and then the floating bodies that they're just cut with pieces of paper.
Oh,
Yeah, it's almost like a 90s music video that was made in like the late 60s, and it's just great. It's only like 70 minutes long, and it goes by fast, and it's just a visual spectacle.
sounds awesome. I'm definitely gonna have to check that one out. Vern, tell people where they can find you and Cinema Recall and everything you're up to.
Oh, thank you very much, David. Well, Cinema Recall, we are available everywhere you can find podcasts. Look up us on YouTube. We've been on a little bit hiatus, but we're coming back in June with all new episodes, and probably gonna try to release episodes that are going to be spaced out a little bit there, but just yeah, come find us. We have a bunch of great back episodes. I'm recently on an episode of Once Over with Keely on YouTube talking about Swiss Army Man.
Oh,
So
nice.
come find that as well. I was recently a guest over on the Science Fiction Remnant podcast talking about Megan, and then also over on Megan Tarantino podcast talking about Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. So come find those as well. And yeah, that's it. CinemaRecall.net is our website, or just type on your little interwebs Cinema Recall podcast. And yeah, I'd love to have you around.
Perfect. Well, Vern, thank you so much for doing the show again. It's been
Oh,
too long. Hopefully, we'll get you
oh,
back again sometime soon.
well, I would love that very much, David, and definitely got to get you back on our show again too, bud.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that conversation. Thank you to the Vern for joining me on that one, and thank you to everybody out there listening. If you're enjoying Piecing It Together, make sure you are subscribed. You could also follow me on social media at Piecing Pod. Join the Facebook group Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces, where we continue the conversation about all the movies we talk about here on the show. And don't forget, we do have a Patreon, the Produced by David Rosen Patreon, where I post bonus and advanced content from Piecing It Together, awesome movie year, and from my music career. Lots of great stuff over there. It's patreon.com/bydavidrosen. Of course, you are supporting this show just by listening to it. But if you want to support the show that way, that would be awesome too. I certainly would appreciate it. And yeah, that does it for today's episode. What should I play to play us out? I got plenty of music that I think would fit for people losing their mind, but well, actually, now that I think about it, the Pup Pups project is somebody losing their mind. But I don't know. I don't get a lot of ocean, sea related movies lately. So I'm gonna go with the track called Beacon, which I always picture floating out at sea when I hear this song. This was from my 2020 album, David Rosen, the self-titled album, David Rosen. And I've always loved this track. So I'm going to go with this one because it definitely conjures up images of the sea for me. So I hope you enjoy it. This is Beacon, and we'll be back with more Piecing It Together real soon.
An All Points West production, produced by David Rosen in Las Vegas.